All right, all set. So let's get those alerts out. The alerts always come up right in the middle of your face. So you're like, where am I? Where am I? But good morning, everyone. I am super pumped today because it's one of my favorite days of the week. Wealth Wellness Wednesday. I'm back in United States soil. Thank you very much. And we're going to chat about all kinds of good stuff today. But good morning. This is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss, Little Horse, live with two.
This does. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. We are in the start of March. Excuse me. All things considered, it really has not been an overall bad winter. Just the coldness. As I gracefully age, it just gets to me more and more, and makes me think when I was a little girl and being dragged into the skating rink, especially on the weekends, and being really cold. That's kind of what it reminds me of. But anyways, there's so much going on with March. March, I believe, is, comes in like a lion. But there's it's multiple sclerosis month awareness. And it's also, I think it's some kind of cancer awareness, and I wrote it down, and I am not wearing my glasses, and I don't know where my glasses are right at the moment. So
don't you hate when that happens? I know. It was funny. Someone, a state rep from Massachusetts, was actually texting me last night, this morning. And of course I'm responding. I didn't have my glasses on. So I said, hitting the wrong key, sorry. And he's like cracking up because he just thinks it's hysterical. He said, it's a miracle you can see it all. I said, you're right, especially when you need them. And it's not a question that you can't spell. You just get those fatty babalooty fingers going on, and
right,
they kind of mess that up, and then your eye vision, and then you just can't see.
Yeah, and the point of that being, like I apparently fell asleep with my glasses on the other night, and Gary will usually take them off and he puts them on his nightstand. But I could swear I put them on my side, on my nightstand. Anyways, long story short, well, I need glasses to find my glasses. And Gary said, well, they were right here. And I'm like, that's not the point. The point is, when I don't have my glasses, everything's a blur. I mean, obviously I can see the screen in front of me. I can kind of make it out, but I don't know, when I was signing on, of course, my face was in the computer to make sure I'm hitting the right buttons. But anyways, let's continue on with the conversation. People know but that I can't find my glasses, so.
I know. It's relatable to some of us that need them. But anywho, so much going on with the month of March, as we talked about. We could not go, just our schedules were a little conflicting yesterday. And I think March, they call it the Eyes of March. And I thought that was pretty poignant because there's a lot of people watching a lot of people. I'm watching you, who's watching who. A lot of people obviously were chatting about what is going on in DC. Obviously it's regated. The House is regated per se, because they're concerned about, what is going on with the truckers coming into the area. There's been I've seen a lot of different convoys. I have not obviously paid attention to the news. I don't normally pay attention to the news, even when I'm away, but I do get alerts. I don't like watching it because then it brings me into a place sometimes where I don't want to be. Like I think all of us can relate. You get too stressed out, you get too concerned. But I actually had an interesting conversation, and this really proved my point on what not only citizens of our country see from a news perspective, but also other countries. So we were at the last leg of our, what I call February Ream Suites. We traveled quite a bit, got to meet amazing people, try different cuisines. I love doing that. But we were it wasn't the last night, but one of the last couple of nights we were there. We were at this nightclub, and it was an outdoor nightclub, very family friendly. So there were a lot of, it got to the point where, am I in a 16-year-old nightclub or am I in a nightclub kind of thing? Because it was like an outdoor bar. So we'd made some friends, and we were just, chatting, dancing on the floor. And this one particular group was a large group. They were from Canada. And she must have heard somehow, obviously we're talking to different people, where you're from, the United States, blah, blah, blah. So she, I'm cracking up as I'm thinking what she said. She said, oh, your president is so spiritual. And I looked at her and I thought, well, you know what? You can't, I don't know, spiritually where he stands. I know what I see on some of the things, from his career that I wouldn't consider very faithful or spiritual, but I don't know him personally. So that would be kind of an awkward answer. I don't think he's a person of integrity. So I'm not sure where that spiritual piece would come through that with him with no integrity. But then, so she asked me a few questions. And then her comment was, I'm so glad because your other president was about money. And again, I'm not like really getting, I'm into the conversation, but it's someone that I'm first meeting. So I don't want to get into my perspective, political beliefs or whatnot. I love to hear. Part of conversation is listening. So I want to really listen to what her view was based on her own news coverage. And so I looked at her and I said, so you think the current person occupying the White House, which she obviously thought was a very strange way to state who he was, but that's how I word how he is a spiritual person. You think the person before that was the president, was all about money. And I looked at her, I said, well, how's Canada doing? Because Canada's fallen. And she said, it's fallen? I said, yes, your country has fallen. She said, what do you mean? So I said, you don't realize that your own president is freezing assets and going after people that may have, it was a very peaceful protest regarding your country and the mandates. She said, oh no, it was full of violence. These criminals, and that's how she described them, we're destroying our country. I said, no, it was not a case of BLM nonsense. I said, they were very peaceful. I said, I watched quite a few live videos from people with networks that I'm personally connected with. So I trust where the news is coming in. When I say a network, I'm not talking about a national network. I'm talking about a very small base network that had people on the ground. So I could see it from being on the ground and the person being present and actually him sharing, what was going on in his take as they were going through it. And then obviously listening to it. It was a very extremely peaceful protest. Did they arrest a few people? Yes. And most of the time the arrests were very peaceful in the sense of peaceful from the protesters' stance, not from what was going on. Some of them, sadly, an elderly woman was stompled on, and there's bad apples in every profession. So I'm not even going to go there. So I said, but your president is freezing assets, and I'm talking about this because obviously it's Wealth Wellness Wednesday. We talk about wealth and how you have that good, healthy relationship with money, because when you have more money, you can impact more. So you had just general everyday people wanting to help donate what they could, 5, 10, 15, whatever it was, donate money, as well as goods, services, meaning, oh, come to our coffee shop, we'll give you a coffee. Again, very peaceful. And when I watched their local government, then local law enforcement try to break down a coffee shop, and it was pretty serious, very scary. And I said, you didn't see any of that on your local church? She says, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said to her, you understand that basically Canada is now what would very much considered the C word, and that your president is fascist, going after people's, and then he's not just going after people's assets, he's going after people that donated as well, and freezing their, not only their personal assets, but maybe their business assets. That is turning. That is like the epitome of, exactly what we know. We want the word we want to say, but we don't want to say it. She had no clue. She did not, her perception of her country was that it's a beautiful country, which I've been to Canada several times. It is a very beautiful country. But corruption in government is everywhere. It just is. It's not just secluded. Whoops, it's just not secluded to one country. It's everywhere. So I said to her, no, I said, I pray for the people there. And I hope, and she just literally was very, very clueless. But then again, she went back to President Trump and about his money hungry ways. I said, well, let's talk about money. And that's exactly what I said to her. Wealth Wellness Wednesday is coming upon us. I explained to her what it was. And I said, don't you feel like, obviously you and your husband work very hard. You've taken your whole family here. Making money allows you to live a life you deserve, right? So you're here with, a whole group of people. She says, well, of course. So I said, if, you're pinning down this particular president, well, guess what? All the money he made in the 4 years that he was there, he didn't even keep that money. He donated it to different causes. She said, he did? She said, that's not what I hear. And I said, funny how news works that way. So I think I left her scratching her head, which was good, because it's always good to hear from other perspectives. So my take on her actually softened, because I thought to myself, she doesn't truly know. Her country is dictating what they tell or, share. They don't have the same types of freedoms that the United States has with social media or whatnot. So it is similar in the sense of our country does the same thing. We have certain media outlets that portray a certain propaganda, projection, narrative, and it happens in all countries. So that's nothing new. But to talk to some, middle class, what I consider a middle class person in the moment, enjoying a fun time at a club, dancing with the kids, and having their little cocktails and just having a good old time, that she had no clue. No clue.
Well, that's an interesting conversation, and there's so much that I can say, but I will start off by saying it's when we not just hear, but we listen with intent, because as you pointed out, this was somebody who you realized that truly had no clue. And I don't mean that the person is clueless, okay? I want to make that very straight. I'm not making any fun or any derogatory comments, but that person really had no idea as to the extent what was happening in her own country. You could, for instance, obviously we know last night was the State of the Union address. There's Republicans, Democrats, conservatives. And by the way, I want to state again, I don't care what party you are associated with, but there's different perspectives on each side. That being, we're always talking about being united, but it's hard to be united when everybody involved, and I'm speaking metaphorically and very generalized because I want to respect people's feelings. I'm just talking from the heart. When you can't agree on the truth as to what is happening around you. Now, we look at the trucker convoy coming in, right? We obviously know what happened in Canada. Where were the opposing viewpointers, or where were the people that, the summer of love? And that's all that it's really what I'm trying to say is more thought provoking to our viewers and listeners. I would like an answer to that. I don't think I'll get one.
And that is true. I mean, you have to have, both sides to kind of truly understand what is going on. And I want to be clear as well, as their convoy that happened in Canada was for a specific reason. It has to do fight about the mandates. Now, as most are aware, a lot of the same mandates there are not here anymore. So for the truckers of the United States, this was more about the Constitution, the freedom of choice, rights, being able to live free in our country. And a lot of people say, well, you're making that declaration, but you can't compare that to what Venezuela and Russia and Ukraine and all these other communist countries that fallen. Of course, some of them haven't fallen, but Venezuela being one of them. And I said, the reason why I can say it with such authority is I actually know it's actually two Venezuelan families, one locally, one back in Massachusetts. I know of a German immigrant who came over. And actually, I've been talking to another person that was also from Russia that decided to come to live in the United States. And their perspective, and they are so frightened because when they came to this country, and some came years ago, some very recent, when they came to this country, either they were fleeing from tyranny, they were fleeing from communist rule, or they really wanted just to better their lives. And what they're seeing is very scary to them, because to them, it's like these are subtle ways of them going back or being thrust into something that they already left. And I really truly respect their perspective, because again, they already lived through it. They already escaped tyranny. They already fled a country that was falling. And now that they're here and they're seeing what's going on in our country, they're having PTSD, post-traumatic, PTS, post-traumatic stress. Now, the people in the country that usually are for the borders being open, illegal immigrants, because there's a difference between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant, flying over, fleeing over to our country, they're the first to say, if you don't like it, get out. And it's not a question, you don't like it, get out. You fight for what you have, what our Constitution stands for. I'm not giving up on our country just because we got a bunch of clowns running it right now, and evil clowns at that. I'm, listening to their perspective, because they're first responders in that sense. They fled from that, not flew. They fled, well, of course, they probably flown, but they fled away from that kind of, really communist ways. So what they're seeing here are subtle ways that we are, in fact, losing our freedoms. And they're to me, they're the experts in that, because they've been through it. So am I going to listen to someone who, their argument and or conversation piece is to talk about Trump, or, just talk about a certain party, and that's their argument? No, I want to talk to people that have actually experienced going through what they think is inevitable in our country if we don't do something right now. So that to me makes more sense than listening to someone that's on the left side of things and their comeback when you want to have that really good conversation of going back and forth, listening, inputting, pausing, actually listening versus hearing. They just throw out, well, at least Trump's not in order. At least he's not in, the presidency and not tweeting. Well, that's not what I'm talking about. You can, your hatred of that president shouldn't depict what's currently going on today. And that's what the truckers are doing. They're there to speak for the average person that works hard, that, does not want to be sitting on the couch, scrolling on Facebook and scrolling on social media. They want to make an honest living, an honest wage. And they're delivering goods that, guess what, we all need, right? So the convoy in Canada was different than what the convoy in the United States is. The United States convoy is more about fighting for freedom, fighting for our rights, and that they're not taken away. Because if you listened, and I do not listen to the current person occupying the White House, I have never listened to one of his speeches, just because of his relationship with Ukraine, and there's a lot of other things going on there. Of course, from our perspective, we pray for all people that might be under tyranny, that might be under communist rule. But let's not celebrate the government, because it's basically their issue. And I truly believe that what's going on over there is a distraction anyways. We got to focus on what's going on in the West. Europe is their own shit show. That's the skinny of it. That's their own shit show. And I don't want to get involved in that, but guess what? We are now, because the person occupying the White House, yes, I know, along with Congress, signed a bill to give them over $500 billion, 600 billion to be sort of exact, somewhere in that dollar amount. When guess what? We have vets over here that can't get health insurance. See, it's just the whole thing's all screwy.
I do believe it's screwy. I may have a different perspective, and I'll share that. I do believe that what is going on over there is definitely affecting us over here. I do think though, obviously with the way, and it all goes back to that conversation with that person that you have, and it's okay to have different perspectives. What I am trying to say is that is perspectives can be objective and subjective, and it's about getting to the truth. And I don't think with many things we will ever get to the truth. Is there always hope? Yes, I do firmly believe that. But in going forward, if you are basing your opinion on just feeling and matter as how you feel against or toward someone, did President Trump tweet what I like, too much? Did he say things like, oh my God, I can't believe he just said or did that?
Well, don't you think there was a moment of that last night? When
oh my God, there's so much I could say about last night.
I'm only going to go with one line with it. When you're talking about the Ukraine people and you're calling them
uranium,
right? Like, hello.
I heard that, and then a friend of mine, oh my God, I was cracking up the comments that people were coming up with. So there was a humorous side to that aspect as to the comments, and I was floored, and I really thought, I'm just going to come out and say it. Obviously with the person at 1600 who's standing out in front there at the podium, and then you have two people behind him. So every time I see Nancy Pelosi sitting there, I think of the ice cream queen, right? I think of the ice cream queen, but then she does this, and I'm not making fun of her. I'm just saying that this is an observance, okay? Yes, I've flat out said I don't care for her. I don't like her, and so many other adjectives. But like the way she moves her mouth, it looks like her dentures are going to fall out. And I'm like thinking that, and then somebody, I saw somebody put a comment on about it, and I just start cracking up.
This is what I think of her.
Yep.
That's what I think of her. And for those that are viewers that cannot see what I'm doing, I am ripping up a piece of paper. Because that's, and actually when he made his comment, I wasn't really listening because I didn't watch it. I only saw like the reel of it. I actually zoomed in on the VP, and she's like you could tell she was like shit show moment, and then they immediately went into a clapping point to like cover up his mistake.
Well, and then you saw them being.
We all make mistakes.
Yeah, and then you saw both of them being very antsy, like looking at each other, and they were, saying something, and it was like the feeling that I got was, oh, he's going off the deep end. Like his medication is starting to wear off.
Or his earpiece is getting static.
Yeah, like something's not right here. I mean, you could tell, like, because I saw the eyes go.
Yeah.
A few times. I'm like, oh.
And here we're talking, it's Wealth Wellness Wednesday. We have nothing against wealth. We think wealth is good. Obviously, if you're an entrepreneur, you are looking to impact people with either health, wellness, fitness. And speaking of that, I met a great trainer, and he goes by the name of, his name is Julian, but on his, I gotta give him a shout out on his Instagram and Facebook, it's Prince Adonis. And the last day, John and him connected in the gym a couple times. and they go, come down to the beach, because he wanted to show me some really good like ab and glutes, different exercises. And he's got an amazing body, by the way, amazing body. And he's into everything, he's fashion, fitness, great model. He's an excellent model. And he's just, his personality, he was like my spirit animal, when we were away. He was just so funny. So anyways, they were on the beach and they were actually doing a really good workout, but I could not find them. And because they were in the different section of the beach that I was on. But he did, and we talked about that. We talked about, being an entrepreneur and how, fitness, and we got into the whole, why is our country not really talking about fitness and gut nutrition and all of that? And, so we had some really, really, really good conversations, but shout out to him. They're arriving back in the States this morning. Demarius, his partner, sweet couple. We really had a blast with them. So I sent him a joke, because what happened on the last night that we were there, we both had separate tables, but we were at the steakhouse. And obviously with humidity or whatever, and you tile floors, there's always a certain amount of slickness to them or whatever. So John and I were actually in a private booth, but the booth was really high up. So it was like we were almost like we needed to be boosted up. And then there was a table with a bunch of 2 or 3 families. Kids were loud, but kids are kids. So that wasn't even the issue. It's just we were so high up. So our table got moved, and we happened to be now sitting next to Julian and Demarius. So, we went to hug each other, and we were talking about, okay, after we eat, we're going to this club, we're doing this and that. Well, I went to go sit down, and literally as soon as I put my ass on the chair went flying, because it was like slick. So the chair goes flying, I fall, and I'm wearing this cute little dress, legs in the air. And because there was a little breeze that, the dress is going up, and I'm like trying not to laugh, but because now my glute, my butt hurts. He comes running over. John was like, what is going on? Because he was like looking down, didn't really even see what transpired. So Julian comes up to help me up, and we're laughing. And I go, oh my God, was that not like a Marilyn Monroe reverse order of the dress? And we were just dying laughing. So he such a sweetheart. We met some great people, and we talked about, that again, impacting people in a positive way, showing value, and having that good relationship and healthy relationship with money, because you can impact more people. You can help people. And we talked about ways of, connecting, and, John and him, that's excellent workout. So he's going to send me some videos. They actually live in Atlanta, Georgia. Demarius is a pilot. And like I said, he's a model and a fitness trainer. I mean, he's so cute, cracks me up. So we had a really good time, and I was telling him about our new lifestyle mix that I'm excited. I'm going to be doing a live about with this shortly. It is our new vegan lifestyle mix. So it is obviously dairy-free, gluten-free, and it's all plant-based protein. So I'm super pumped about that. And then some other new product line that we came out with that I'm going to be sharing, stuff that I learned while I was out of the country. But it's good to be back in the United States. It's good to, be back home, get in some sort of regiment that you're used to, because we know when you travel, sometimes you get derailed. Well, I actually did very good from the eating perspective. I didn't have any frozen sugary drinks. I didn't do any of that. I think I had 2 tastes of one sweet treat in the week that we were away. And they were 2 of the places were all inclusive. So I didn't like overeat. I didn't overindulge. But the sodium, obviously the salt air, I did have, I'm not going to lie, I did indulge in some filthy, dirty martinis. So those are high in sodium. So I do feel a little tight in the muscles, but it's all good. But you know what? Wellness Wednesday, what are you going to do to impact people in a positive way? And, really bless somebody unsuspecting with a little bit of moolah. Now, when we talk about money, we're not talking about the dollar amount is not what's important. It's the actual action of doing it. You're putting out to the universe that you want to help other people. You want to maybe change the direction of their day. Maybe they're having a crappy day. Maybe, the gas price. I was shocked from the 2 weeks that have been on and off of where I haven't been home, and how much the gas price is like just skyrocketed. And that's a whole nother subject, so we're not even going to get into that. But what if you had somebody that was at the gas station, right? And they're not using a credit card. Maybe they don't have a credit card. Maybe they don't have enough room on their credit card or debit card, and they're trying to pay cash. And they're like, oh my God, I got $5. Where is that going to get me? Well, that's going to get you a gallon of gas and then a little cent. But what if, they went to there and there was a couple bucks, $5, $10, whatever, in where you put the credit card. And now maybe they can get 2 or 3 gallons of gasoline, which is going to help them a little bit more than just that gallon. So you never know. And that's the whole point about Wealth Wellness Wednesday. It's impacting people and changing the direction of maybe that they're going, and maybe put a smile on their face and show kindness. And they don't know where it came from. And guess what? That releases good endorphins for them. It releases good endorphins for you. And what you're putting back out into the universe, and that positivity of helping and being kind, is going to bless you over and over again.
And blessings are all around us. We are blessed and grateful. And on that note, my name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I am with
TwoSistas, and this is Carol, aka Naughty Boss, back in the United States. I'm going to go live on my personal page, talk about some product. We hope that you have an awesome day. Go out there, be kind, change someone's day, impact people, and always do it with kindness. And we will see you tomorrow. And actually, tomorrow is Thursday, so we'll be on tomorrow night. We were going to change it up. We couldn't do that Tuesday because it was just one of those messed up days. But we will see you tomorrow night. Somewhere around 7:30, we'll let you know. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everyone.